Snakes can predict earthquakes. Researchers in China have found that many animals are actually able to predict earthquakes to varying levels of success. They can sense earthquakes from as far as 75 miles away. What's more impressive is that they can sense an earthquake as many as 5 days before it actually occurs. When a snake senses an earthquake, it will run or slither, in this case, away from its nest to search for shelter. Smart creatures. Sea otters hold hands when they sleep so they don't drift away from each other. While it may look like it's just a couple of otters being adorable, it's actually a life-saving strategy. This technique is most commonly seen with mothers and their pups. Another way they stay still in choppy seas is by grabbing onto long strands of kelp that grow up from the seabed. Still, it looks very cute. Saving a life. A baby elephant stuck by a motorbike while crossing a road in Thailand survived after reviving by an off-duty rescue worker, Mana Servati. Mr. Mana has been a rescue worker for 26 years, and the elephant was the only victim he had ever managed to revive through CPR. A swarm of 20,000 bees followed a car for 2 days because their queen was stuck inside. A 68-year-old grandmother got quite the surprise on her return from a visit to a nature reserve. It seems that somehow a queen bee was curious and got trapped in her car. On her way home, she parked the car to go shopping, only to return to a car covered in bees. The bees were safely removed from the car, and the lovely old lady made her way home. Much to her surprise, the bees were back the next day. It seems that the queen bee was still inside, and the bees followed her the whole way home. This time, they were all removed, and they fortunately didn't return. Never fly when you're drunk. Once a year in parts of England, flying ants migrate. Seagulls catch and eat them and become drunk off the ants' formic acid. Because apparently ants are poisonous creatures, this causes the seagulls to crash into buildings and moving cars. No need to flower power. Newly discovered fossils show that moths and butterflies have been on the planet for at least 200 million years, whereas flowering plants came along around 130 million years ago. Butterflies survived without flowers for 70 million years. Some insects and small birds see the world in slow motion. This is because they can take in more information per second than other larger animals. This allows them to move so rapidly and with such precision, which is vital to escape from predators. They process information so quickly that they perceive time as though it was in slow motion. Other fun fact, it's been found that the opposite is true for larger animals, with giants such as elephants taking a lot more time to take in information and act upon it. Crows often hold grudges against specific people. It turns out that crows are actually very good at recognizing people's faces and have been found to remember people for a long time. This can either be a negative or positive fact depending on how nice you are to them. While crows can tell us apart, we would find it incredibly difficult to distinguish one crow from another. Octopuses actually have 6 arms and 2 legs. Like all other animals that walk on 2 appendages, we use the bottom 2 for walking and the top 2 for manipulating objects. It seems that octopuses also similarly favor some of their tentacles. 6 of an octopus's tentacles are used in the same way we would use our arms, and are used for purposes such as eating. The remaining 2 tentacles are used for walking, which makes them just like legs. Unlike humans, octopuses do not favor one side over the other, so there's no such thing as being left or right tentacled. Orcas are friendly creatures. There are no recorded fatal attacks of wild orcas on humans. In 2005, a 12-year-old boy in Alaska was bumped by a killer whale while splashing in 4 feet of water. The boy was likely mistaken for a seal, and the bump was an aborted attack once the whale realized the mistake.